This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news in East Los Angeles, where a student has been stabbed to death at a school. I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan.
And I'm David Dona. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Let's go live to Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand in East LA with the latest. Jory.
Yeah, David, very early in this investigation and not a lot of information to go on. We are expecting a statement here at Griffith Middle School within about 5 minutes, but we are outside Griffith Middle School where this happened today. One student, 15 years old, is dead. Another was stabbed. The suspect is on the loose. It all happened around 3 o'clock this afternoon outside Griffith Middle School. The victim who died was stabbed with a pair of scissors. Not a student here at Griffith Middle School, but actually nearby Garfield High School that's just down the block here. We're at the intersection of 4th and Mednick. Just to give you some idea, the high school is at 6th, so it's just a couple blocks down the street here. That student, 15 years old, stabbed with a pair of scissors, died en route, pronounced dead at USC County USC Medical Center. The second student, unnamed, was also stabbed perhaps with another sharp object, not the scissors. We don't know at this point. The students at Griffith are still here inside the gym right now, and they will be released one by one. We spoke with a parent just a short time ago.
What we know is it's just all the kids are still in the gym, and they're gonna start calling the parents to let us know what time they're gonna coming out. They are okay. I'm a little bit, concerned, but everything is my kid and the ones that are inside, they are okay.
So in addition to the gathered media, there are parents all around the vicinity right here waiting to pick up their children here from Griffith Middle School. Again, one student, 15 years old, from nearby Garfield High School has been killed, stabbed with a pair of scissors. There was another victim, unnamed. We don't know the status of that. And we also know that the suspect is still on the loose. Again, expecting an update here within the next 5 minutes. For now, we're live in East LA. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jory, thank you very much. Southern California CEO faces child sex charges. Investigators fear there may be more victims. Man was in court today, and Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Fair has the latest on this brazen cybercrime.
Kayed Sharif being held on $2 million bail. The CEO of an Orange County company called Adaptive Media. Online, he's described as an experienced digital advertising executive. But prosecutors allege the 39-year-old took on a different persona, that of a teenage boy named Jeremy Stevens, when he used an app called Tango to contact two brothers in Virginia.
These are younger boys who were wanting to be accepted, and you can tell in these text chains that the boys just wanted to be cool and accepted.
Prosecutors allege Sharif knew the boys were 9 and 10 years old.
He sent photos and videos of himself, as well as pornographic videos to these children.
Authorities say Sharif then directed the boys to record themselves and send him photos and videos.
He was very specifically asking them to do various sexual positions, acts, show sexual body parts.
Prosecutors say the crimes allegedly started Christmas Day 2013 and lasted 4 days. Investigators discovered 30 different videos after being contacted by the boy's mother. His arrest this week comes after a year-long investigation involving the Orange County Child Exploitation Task Force. Sharif has pleaded not guilty.
Without getting into specifics, we have obtained information that leads investigators to believe that there are additional victims, and that's why we're putting this information out there.
Now, if you know of any additional potential victims, call the Orange County District Attorney's Office at 714-347-8794. Now, Sharif, again, has pleaded not guilty. He could face up to 752 years to life in prison if convicted. In Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A former Riverside school administrator charged with molesting 2 girls reaches a plea deal with prosecutors. 41-year-old Andrea Cardosa pleaded guilty today to 3 counts of lewd acts on a minor. She was arrested last year after a former student confronted her on the phone and posted the conversation on YouTube. A second accuser then came forward, and prosecutors say they notified the victims of the plea deal, which was reached after several weeks of negotiation.
We don't discuss whether they even exist or not in cases, and that is obviously what happened in this case. There were some negotiations that were happening, and then this morning she decided that she would enter guilty pleas to these 3 counts.
In exchange, the DA dropped 13 other sex-related charges. Cardosa is set to be sentenced on February 9th. She faces up to 10 years and 8 months in prison.
A new effort today by the group demanding action for the death of Ezell Ford. Members of the group Black Lives Matter met today with Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey to discuss their push for prosecuting the police officers who fatally shot Ford in South Los Angeles.
That she understands that we are looking to her to set the model, to set the standards of a different approach and a different way of investigating and prosecuting these crimes. A model that separates law and order.
Officers say Ford was reaching for one of their guns and they acted in self-defense when they shot him. Officers are currently on administrative duty. An LA police captain is hoping to convince a parole board not to release a woman convicted in connection with the murder of a fellow officer. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Starwood tells us he has a very personal reason for his crusade. The victim was his own brother.
Obviously, I want her to stay in prison. I don't feel she's served her sentence. Life prison should be a life sentence.
LAPD Captain Brian Pritt is on a campaign to keep Raylene Brooks behind bars. Brooks was convicted of manslaughter in the 1988 murder of Captain Pratt's brother, fellow LAPD officer Daniel Pratt. Along with convictions for 3 attempted murders, Brooks was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Brooks shouldn't be up for parole for another 2 years, but she petitioned for an earlier hearing. The petition claims she's been free of disciplinary problems, has completed a rehabilitation program, and earned an associate's degree. The parole board granted the request and the hearing is next month. Captain Pratt says he talked to Brooks at a hearing some 3 years ago, and she showed no remorse. He says she remains a danger to society.
She acted like she was trying to weep, but I don't think she could even shed a tear when I was speaking to her. She just looked angry.
Brooks' boyfriend, Kirkton Moore, fired on 3 people before shooting and killing Officer Pratt during a police chase in South L.A. He's behind bars for life, no parole. Brooks drove the getaway car.
And if she had said, I'm sorry?
If she had said, I'm sorry, I would have forgiven. I think I've already forgiven, but I can't excuse. You can't ever excuse the act of what you did.
Captain Pratt says when he often reflects on his brother's murder, he's always mindful that while he lost a brother, his brother's 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys, lost their daddy.
You can't just kill policemen and expect, to have the rewards of life that many other people have.
Captain Pratt is calling on the community to write the parole board demanding that Brooks remain locked up. Leo Starwood, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A San Diego judge unsealed records today revealing new details about the early investigation into the disappearance of the McStay family. The documents describe the condition of the family's Fallbrook home. When investigators arrived in 2010, they found a lamp on the floor, several open suitcases with clothing inside, rotten eggs in the kitchen, and 2 bowls of spilled popcorn in the living room. The disappearance remained a mystery until the bodies of Joseph and Summer McStay and their 2 young sons were found buried in the Mojave Desert in 2013. Charles Merritt, who knew Joseph McStay from work, has pleaded not guilty to the murders.
Now to the wrongful death lawsuit against Target. That from a woman who claims her son's mistreatment contributed to his suicide. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda reports from Pasadena with more on what she and Target are saying.
He said that it was the worst day of his life because he didn't understand what was going on.
Virginia Gentle says that's how her son Graham felt after he told her he was handcuffed at the Target store. He committed suicide 3 days later.
They humiliated him. That was their purpose.
Gentles filed a lawsuit against Target. It says when her son arrived for work last July, he was met by security and Pasadena police. He was handcuffed and led through the store in front of customers and other employees in what is known as the Walk of Shame.
The intention of the policy is to humiliate and shame, and in this particular instance, the policy had its intended effect with tragic results.
McNicholas says Gentles was taken to the police station and then released, never charged with any crime.
He said, Mom, I've never stolen. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, they did the walk of shame. I had to do the walk of shame. But they only do that when people steal, and I've never stolen a thing.
One of the primary purposes of this lawsuit is that Target stops the policy immediately, recognizes the harm that it can do.
Target issued a short statement saying, our thoughts and sympathies go out to the friends and family of this individual. As this is pending litigation, we don't have further comment at this time.
This was part of his extended family. He had Asperger's. He had indicated that he felt safe there. This is where his friends were. So he felt as though he lost all of that in one moment.
McNicholas says it's not just Target. He says other stores have similar policies that can embarrass employees, and he hopes this lawsuit is a wake-up call to everyone. Reporting from Pasadena, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The fate of two Japanese hostages captured by ISIS is still unclear. The deadline for the $200 million ransom payment has passed with no word on their well-being. In Tokyo, the mother of one of the hostages made an emotional plea for ISIS to spare her son, and prayers were offered for the two men at Japan's largest mosque.
All Muslims in Japan, we want Japanese hostages to be saved as soon as possible.
If ISIS carries out its threat, it would bring the number of hostages killed by alleged executioner Jihadi John to 7. A spokesman said the Japanese government is using every channel possible to win release of the hostages, but that there has been no direct contact with ISIS. And a 19-year-old Denver woman who tried to travel to Syria to help ISIS militants has been sentenced to 4 years in prison. Shannon Conley was arrested at the Denver airport in April. FBI agents say she wanted to marry someone she met online who claimed he was fighting with the extremists. They say she told them she wanted to fight alongside him or use her skills as a nurse's aide to help. Conley pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to support a foreign terrorist organization.
The new issue of Charlie Hebdo is now on sale at local newsstands. The Laurel Canyon News received about 300 copies this afternoon. 3 million copies of the issue were printed in 16 different languages. The front cover, which we are not showing, has a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad shedding a tear and holding a sign that says, "Je suis Charlie," that means "I am Charlie." Overhead is the phrase, "All is forgiven."
Vice President Joe Biden is in Southern California pushing the president's plan to make 2 years of community college free for students. The vice president met with students and staff at West Los Angeles College in Culver City today. He says providing more Americans with access to higher education will be key to ensuring future economic growth. However, the plan is expected to cost taxpayers $60 billion over the next 10 years. And we'll hear from the vice president and have a reaction to his visit coming up at Eyewitness News later on today.
2 young brothers tell their terrifying story.
When I saw that gun, I thought I was about to die.
They were carjacked right in front of their home, and we'll hear from them coming up next. Plus this.
It was like I had the chicken pox, but like all over my body. My feet, my legs.
Hit by the measles outbreak, we'll talk with a local patient who says it was hard for doctors to figure out what was making her so sick.
And who needs a real boyfriend when you can buy an invisible boyfriend? What that is and how much it'll cost.
All right, wind's going to be kicking up, folks, and the temperature's going up, and the rain chances as well. Details in your 7 days. Stick around.
A Northern California family is on edge after two young brothers were carjacked at gunpoint as they waited for a ride to school.
When I saw that gun, I thought I was about to die.
The incident happened right in front of their home in Pinole. The boys were in the family's SUV waiting for their mom. Latrice Hayes was gathering her things and heading out the front door when she realized the SUV was gone. Her boys ran to her crying and told her what had just happened.
I'm in 4. And he was like, "Get out the car, get out the car." And I was staring at him for like 1 second. And he was like, then he pointed the gun at me. I was like, oh snap. So I had to think fast, and I had to get my brother out and quick. They forced me to get out, and they punched me in my arm. I was horrified. I couldn't even do my math at school. I didn't even want to play.
Police have since recovered the SUV and arrested 4 people. Hayes says she thought her street was safe, but she'll never leave her children alone again.
Local public health officials confirmed that a CSU Channel Island student has the measles, and the LA County Health Department reports 10 new cases of measles, 9 linked to the Disneyland outbreak. The CDC today issued an alert to hospitals to be on the lookout for measles cases, but just a few weeks ago, this wasn't the case when one South Pasadena resident got infected, as we learned from health specialist Denise Tador.
My friend and I, in front of the Magic Castle.
On December 18th, 24-year-old Mara Rocio Tellez and a friend were both celebrating their birthdays at Disneyland and took lots of photos. But about 2 weeks later, she had different pictures to share. These show the red rash that started on her face and spread to her arms.
And then on your stomach, just everywhere.
She says not painful, not itchy, but a telling symptom of measles. Yet when she went to the ER, none of the doctors had measles on their radar. They told her it was probably the flu. Mara was scared and frustrated.
It was hard, being that sick with that high of a fever. Like the highest it got was 104.5.
Besides having the long-running high fever, Mara had a hacking cough, red eyes, and extreme weakness. Only after media reports about an outbreak in Disneyland did Mara's family get confirmation it was the measles. Shadows of the rash remain, along with an IV scar she got after being treated for dehydration.
It was just terrible. Like, I couldn't do anything. I just stayed in bed.
Experts tell us measles is one of the most contagious viruses in existence. It can be transmitted 4 days before symptoms appear and up to 4 days after the appearance of the red rash. Mara can't remember being around anyone who seems sick. We know the virus can survive on surfaces for 2 hours and remain suspended in the air for the same amount of time. Mara didn't get vaccinated because she says her brother had a severe reaction to another childhood vaccine, and her mom was afraid the other siblings would have the same reaction. But after this experience, Mara says she's considering getting caught up on her other childhood vaccinations, and now she's looking at the bright side.
I'm actually very glad that I got the measles, just because now I'm immune for life.
Denise Tador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
So, if you were born before 1957, you're considered to have immunity against the measles, but if you're an adult and you are unsure about your immunity, experts say ask your doctor about getting the vaccine. Meddling
family or friends pestering you to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend? There's an app for that. For $25 a month, Invisible Boyfriend will invent a love interest for you. The app allows you to pick their name, age, interests, photo, and personality traits. It even helps you concoct the story of how you met. Then presto, the imaginary man or woman of your dreams starts texting you, even sending you handwritten notes. Eventually, Invisible Boyfriend plans to offer gifts sent to you at work. What do you think of that?
That is interesting.
Isn't it though?
$25 a month to have a pretend boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, it's only pretend if you don't believe it.
It's only pretend
so
if you don't believe it.
You think people would actually think they really do have a boyfriend?
Maybe. And you know what? I was thinking about it. If that doesn't work, I had another idea.
Okay.
I was thinking, what if instead it was a weatherman? Finally, a weatherman your friends could believe in. The invisible weatherman, guys. Rain, sun, or snow. Even if you're not in rain, sun, or snow. You create your own weatherman. Right?
Okay.
You give me a name. You get your own forecast. You could go for the standard weather guy look, right? Or if you want, you go for the sporty guy. Could be your weatherman. Or the intellectual. Or how I am. I'm the bad boy.
Oh yes, the bad boy.
Is that? Did you shave your head there? That's interesting. What about a tall weatherman?
Well, that's impossible.
What would be your name? Like a fake name?
Rico.
Oh, I love it.
All right, looking at Burbank, have some what are called lenticular clouds right here as those winds go up and over the mountain peaks. We get a little condensation as that wind continues to pull that moisture. That's what that is. It's a lenticular cloud. Very cool as we see that from earlier today. Temperatures today were warm, and it is now 63 in Burbank, but we are going to be hot this weekend, and the winds will be on your mind. 67 right now in Van Nuys. That is the current temperature. We're still at 69 Ontario. Very warm with the winds that will be moving in as we go in overnight into the morning. We have a high wind warning for gusts up to 65 miles an hour. And this is for all the mountain areas especially, but also for the valley areas as you move down from the San Bernardino Riverside County mountains to the coast, and even some right here. That's a high wind warning for the Santa Monica mountain range too. All right, it's going to be windy everywhere. This is because high pressure is building in to the west of us, as it's been doing over the last day, and those winds are coming straight around that high from the northeast, gusting, and we should see, again in the mountains, 65, but if you're in the valleys, or if you're in LA, still a very breezy day. 45-mile-an-hour winds for gusts. This is the timeline here. I'll bring you through going into Saturday morning. I'm going to stop this in the morning time around 11 a.m. You see this yellow and orange here right over the mountains. You look at the legend, and that is 45 to 55-mile-an-hour wind speeds. Let's move on down to the southern counties here. That's LA and Ventura. Now let's head over to the southern counties, and I'll bring you through Saturday morning and into Saturday afternoon. And winds will sustain throughout the day on Saturday for you. And this pocket right here, that's about a 60-mile-an-hour wind reading that we are expecting in this forecast. So yes, get ready for those. Now once those are out of the picture, we will see temperatures warm up, and then next week the winds will calm down, but we have rain in the forecast for next week. You'll see in here in a second. 80 tomorrow for a high temperature, 69 Santa Clarita, and then the 7-day forecast. For LA Metro Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. 2 days of some winds, especially tomorrow. Temperatures in the 80s, dipping down to the lower 70s on Monday with a chance of rain Monday and Tuesday, about 40%. Very good. We need it. Same in the valleys, 30-40% next week. But look at the weekend. Very gusty. 60-mile-an-hour winds through the canyons, and then a little calmer on Saturday. But look at the temperature on Sunday, I should say. Look at the temperature on Sunday, 82 degrees, and we are still hanging into January. Wow. Beaches, mid-70s tomorrow, fantastic. But even these are pretty strong winds, and so as a result, they're going to make their way down to the coast, and you will even see some gusts or some sustained winds about 20 to 35 miles an hour for those gusts. Chance of rain next week as well, Monday and Tuesday. Let's check out the mountains. You guys have the strongest wind gusts expected, up to about 60, 65, maybe even beyond that. And then breezy Sunday, showers Monday, Tuesday. Snow level is going to be around 8,000 feet, so not much snow expected. In the high desert, windy and mild throughout that forecast. Few showers for you next week, too. Watch out for the winds, guys. And Rico, I like that.
Thank you, Rico. Appreciate it. Up next, escape at the San Diego Zoo. Visitors rush to safety today as a pair of monkeys break for freedom. See what happened next. Plus this.
Male spouses are also victims of domestic violence.
A frustrated victim's words as his former wife reaches a plea deal with prosecutors after allegedly attacking him in the bedroom. A decision by the DMV could force changes for ride-sharing companies like Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar. It says all those rideshare drivers need commercial license plates, citing a nearly 80-year-old section of California state law. It says any passenger vehicle used for hire is considered a commercial vehicle, even if the commercial use is only occasional. Rideshare drivers without commercial plates could be ticketed, and this comes as Uber stands accused by some providers or drivers of prohibiting them from registering their cars as commercial, which Uber says is not true.
Short-lived break to freedom for two monkeys at the San Diego Zoo today. The 9- and 5-year-old wolf gunyuns had been placed in their new exhibit for the first time today when they made their getaway. Visitors were shooed out of the Ituri forest while zoo staff captured the monkeys. It took them less than an hour to round them up. Monkeys checked out okay in a veterinary examination and were put back in their usual home where the pygmy hippos are located. A decision on their future housing will be made later.
Didn't want to share with the pygmy hippos, probably. We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30, including the latest on the search for a killer after a stabbing at an East LA school.
Plus, hundreds of thousands of dollars of wine stolen from Napa Valley's French Laundry restaurant discovered thousands of miles away. The latest on the investigation.
This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Our top story at 7:30, we are following breaking news. A 15-year-old boy is stabbed to death at a school in East LA. I'm David Ono.
I'm Ellen Leva in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Sheriff's investigators say at about 3:30 this afternoon, the boy was stabbed at Griffith Middle School in the 4700 block of East 4th Street. But they say he's a student from nearby Garfield High. Investigators say he was stabbed with a pair of scissors. He died at the hospital. They say another student was also stabbed. So far, no one is in custody.
A Southern California CEO is behind bars in child sex charges. 39-year-old Kayed Sharif of Aliso Viejo is charged with 30 counts, including lewd acts with and distributing pornography to a minor. The CEO and founder of Irvine-based Adaptive Media is accused of posing as a teenage boy to engage two Virginia brothers through an online texting application. Investigators say he sent them sexually explicit videos and instructed the boys how to send him videos of them engaging in sex acts.
A man's former wife reaches a plea deal with prosecutors after allegedly attacking him in the bedroom, trying to cut off his penis. Virginia Valdez will serve 3 years probation and community service. Her now ex-husband blames not only her, but the justice system for how his ordeal ended. Eyewitness News Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez has his reaction.
Cesar Valdez is for the first time talking publicly about what happened to him at the hands of his then estranged wife. 3 years ago, she tried to cut off his penis.
More often than not, male spouses are also victims of domestic violence.
Attorney Gloria Allred, best known for handling high-profile cases involving women, is representing Valdez.
This is what was used on his penis, something very similar to that. Large scissors. And there was a lot of blood coming out of his penis as a result of her attack on him.
Virginia Valdez, who pled guilty to the assault, received just 3 years probation and 420 hours of community service. She did not want to speak with reporters outside the courthouse following her sentencing. Allred says her client is the victim of a double standard when it comes to domestic violence.
Because he feels that if he had been a woman victim of domestic violence, that the case would not have been permitted to be delayed for so long, and that the punishment for Virginia would have been harsher.
The couple had been married for 32 years, but were going through a divorce. Valdez says his ex-wife called him to their former home, lured him into their bedroom, and attacked him for no reason. Valdez says he agreed to the plea deal so he could move on with his life.
There is no doubt in my mind that if I had been the aggressor and not the victim, my case would have been heard much sooner.
The criminal case is now over, but there is still pending civil litigation between the two ex-spouses who are suing each other. Reporting in Palm Springs, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Smugglers are using powerful magnets to secretly place drugs underneath the cars of innocent travelers as they cross the border into California. Agents say they attach their illegal cargo in Mexico and then retrieve it here in the U.S. Specifically, they're apparently targeting drivers who use those new rapid inspection lanes. In one recent incident, a driver spotted the containers while pumping gas and thought it was a bomb. So he called police, who found 13 pounds of heroin underneath his car. The smugglers, of course, are always finding new ways to transport their drugs. Earlier this week, there was this drone loaded with meth, which crashed near that same San Ysidro border crossing where they're using the magnets.
An Oklahoma sex education teacher is suspended from her job with pay, accused of having an affair with one of her students. Investigators say 32-year-old Theresa Poe admitted to a romantic relationship with an 18-year-old student, even having sex in the teacher's lounge. Student involved is 18, but Oklahoma law says a student must be 21 to engage in a sexual relationship with a teacher. Police were notified through an anonymous tip.
The Verizon Wireless store in Torrance has only been open for 6 months, but it has already been burglarized 3 times, and that's just in the past 30 days. The store is located on Pacific Coast Highway. Police have just released surveillance video of the break-ins, describing the crimes as smash and grab thefts. The thieves target electronic items, including iPhones and iPads, before making a quick getaway. Police believe the same suspects may be responsible for break-ins at other electronic stores in the area.
Number of firearms found in carry-on luggage at TSA checkpoints is on the rise. In fact, the TSA seized a record number of them last year. According to the Department of Homeland Security, agents uncovered more than 2,200 firearms in 2014. That's up 22% compared with the previous year. What's more disturbing is that 83% of the weapons were loaded. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport seized the most guns last year with 120. Most people say they simply forgot the guns were there.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of wine stolen from Napa's world-renowned French Laundry restaurant. Now it has turned up in North Carolina. But the questions remain: who took it and how did it get there? Reporter Wayne Friedman searches for answers.
Here's what you get for $6,500 retail at a fancy restaurant for a bottle of Screaming Eagle Cabernet, a tight-fitting box that would do even NASA proud, and a niftily wrapped bottle in understated brown tissue paper. This is what a bottle of Screaming Eagle Cabernet looks like prior to consumption. At the Vintners Collective in Napa, Garrett Murphy acquires such bottles and then sells them.
Well, I think it's just like art. I mean, why does Picasso fetch millions and millions versus another painter?
And why has the small town of Yountville become such a destination?
The food. For the food.
And mostly Thomas Keller's food. He did not want to be interviewed today, so here's file of him from an appearance on ABC7 in 2009. Of all his restaurants, the French Laundry is most famous. Reservations here take 2 months if you can get them. It was here that a thief or thieves broke in last Christmas, making off with an estimated $300,000 worth of wine, including 5 bottles of Screaming Eagle.
If you buy it at the winery, it'd be $750. If you buy it at a retailer, it might cost you double and sometimes 10 times the price.
In a restaurant?
Yeah, as much as 10 times the price.
According to the Napa County Sheriff's Office, the wine is back in this county, but they provided no pictures, no on-camera comment. It's precious stuff, apparently, even to look at. Is anything worth that much money?
Not to somebody who knows as much about wine as I do. But for some people, who wants to let some other expert pick the wine for them, and they want to have a wine that no one else has, yeah, probably.
Probably?
Hey, to each their own.
One reason the Napa County Sheriff's Department suspects an inside job, it wasn't the first robbery of this kind. There was another at Reg's last year. Again, whoever broke in did it on a night when the burglar alarm was off and no one was inside the restaurant. And once again, they knew what they were looking for, the good stuff. In Napa, Wayne Friedman, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Proud moment today for 23 graduates at the LA Police Academy. Today's ceremony was held at the LAPD Administration Building in downtown LA. Among all those LAPD uniforms today was a member of the Sheriff's Department. Deputy Hector Lobos is the husband of new graduate Christina Lobos. Hector graduated from the Sheriff's Academy 9 months ago. Christina and Hector were high school sweethearts. Both attended the Reseda High School Police Academy Magnet School.
Talks resume today over contract negotiations for union workers at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Cargo has been backing up for months. And Eyewitness News reporter Greg Lee takes a look at how this ongoing dispute is hurting small businesses.
Employees at Mega Toys in the City of Commerce are busy making Easter baskets, one of their top sellers. But they're doing it with less help. CEO Charlie Wu says he was forced to cut hours for his staff due to delays at the Port of Long Beach and Port of LA. Fewer materials mean less work.
This is a bigger problem than having a gift late on the shelf. This impacts lives and many workers in Southern California.
The delays are the result of an ongoing contract dispute between the Union for Longshore Workers and the Pacific Maritime Association. The PMA accuses union employees of using slowdowns as leverage in negotiations.
Disrupt operations, and they perpetuate a view that the West Coast ports are not reliable, and we need to find a way to overcome that perception.
We stand with you! Thousands of union members and their supporters marched in San Pedro last night, pointing the finger back at the PMA. Workers say reduced hours and suspension of the night shift are a few of the reasons for the backup.
They're a fantasy because you can't find a worker here who will tell you that they've been directed to slow down work. Quite the contrary. Fewer workers are being expected to do the work.
For business owners like Wu, it doesn't matter who's at fault. He just wants things resolved, and soon.
Because of the congestion, because of the labor issues, now they are in a mess, and we suffer.
The PMA and the union are scheduled to meet every day in San Francisco until a contract is reached. Reporting at the Port of Los Angeles, Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, Jennifer Lopez hits the big screen today in her new movie, The Boy Next Door.
But J-Lo takes on 2 roles in the film, in front of and behind the camera. Our entertainment guru has what's new at the box office.
A windy weekend ahead, but also a very warm one. And yes, finally, rain in the forecast. Details ahead.
Award season keeps moving ahead. This weekend, it's the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and today we got a sneak peek inside the Shrine Auditorium. The awards committee is busy setting up for the ceremony, including the always important seating arrangements. More than 50 individual performances have been recognized with nominations, as well as entire casts. The winners are often an early predictor of what we'll see next month on Oscar Sunday.
Oscar-nominated drama American Sniper is expected to continue its domination at the box office for another weekend.
But there are several other new films willing to join the box office battle. And entertainment guru George Pinocchio lets us know what's new at the movies.
Nobody ever goes into the dark forest.
I'm not afraid of that.
The new animated movie Strange Magic was inspired by Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. This musical fairy tale features popular songs to help tell the story that features a culture class of goblins, elves, and fairies. Voice talent includes Alfred Molina, Maya Rudolph, Evan Rachel Wood, Alan Cumming, and Kristen Chenoweth.
I brought it so you can make.
How do you think I got in here?
Kristen is also featured in the thriller The Boy Next Door. She plays Jennifer Lopez's best friend.
I don't know. I didn't think he was going to turn into a stalker.
Lopez plays literature teacher Claire, who is on the outs with her husband, played by John Corbett. A handsome, charming teen moves in next door. He's played by Ryan Guzman. What starts as a seemingly harmless flirtation turns into one night of unbridled passion. And it's after that bad decision that Claire realizes the young man has some serious emotional and anger issues, lots of very dark secrets, and a tendency toward obsession.
What's in it for me, as they say? Do it for Queen and country.
Mordecai features an all-star cast led by Johnny Depp. He plays a dapper spy with a memorable mustache who is on a mission to track down a stolen work of art. Its value? The painting is rumored to contain the code to a lost bank account filled with Nazi gold. The cast also features Ewan McGregor, Gwyneth Paltrow, Paul Bettany, and Olivia Munn. Also new and in limited release, Song 1, starring Anne Hathaway, plus Al Pacino's latest, The Humbling, and Ewan McGregor in Son of a Gun. You'll also be able to see Jennifer Aniston's new film in more theaters. Cake moves into wide release. George Pinocchio, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A windy start to the weekend. Jonathan Novak has his details coming up next.
Plus, former NFL diva to coach Terrell Owens now passing on his knowledge to the next crop of football players.
Say, how much for the Doritos?
Hi, sis. Doesn't hurt for Sam.
And we're talking to local filmmakers behind those funny Super Bowl Doritos ads.
Giant asteroid is about to make a flyby of Earth on Monday. Asteroid 2004 BL86 is about a third of a mile wide. It's traveling at a speed of over 35,000 miles per hour. NASA says on Monday at 8:20 in the morning, it will be about 745,000 miles away from Earth. Experts say it poses no threat to our planet.
They got to work on how they name that name.
Yeah,
like
really catchy.
BLTR2.
Kind of like Rico, the weather
Maybe
guy.
they should go with Rico. Good segue, because I had one other idea or graphic associated with that idea. If you missed it earlier, the Invisible Weatherman. So we've got, we've got something like I can't even read that. Can you read that?
Real-time interactive.
Oh, he'll text you right back.
Yeah, text you back. Yes, I really think you look great, even the 100% humidity. See, he's affirming. And then, what do you think for Friday? It's my birthday. How about mostly sunny? How about awesome? Thank you, Invisible Weatherman. All right, it's out there. Don't steal it. Laguna Beach, sunny skies today. The sun went down. That's beautiful. Bye-bye goes the sun, and hello, the winds. 12 miles an hour, Van Nuys right now, the wind out of the north. But they're going to be kicking up about 60 miles an hour in the mountains of Ventura and LA County. It's 67 in Van Nuys. Look at that. 69 Ontario. Very mild, you call that warm evening. A high wind warning is in effect for just about everybody, especially, when I say especially, I mean the strongest winds will be in the mountains. Now, this goes through Saturday night at 10 p.m. Then there's a wind advisory that's going to be lingering through Sunday. So we have a breezy weekend from now until Sunday night, and this is why. High pressure is just off to our west, and I want you to watch in the future scan here what happens. You see this area low pressure that's going to develop as we go in through Saturday. That, along with the high pressure here, we see those winds coming right off to the north-northeast, and those are going to be strong Santa Ana winds, about 35 to 50 in most places, and in the mountains, gusting up to 60. Now, we get to the weekend, it's going to be warm and windy. Now, here's what happens with that low. Watch to the bottom of your screen. See that low? It'll start to develop even further, and it'll say what we call cut off from the overall steering flow of the atmosphere, and on Monday, it'll get pulled back into the flow and open up. All that means, rain chances, once that low moves over, on Monday, as that flow around that area low pressure, as that high moves away, is going to be from the south-southeast. So that means rain chances on Monday and Tuesday are going to start from the southern counties, move up to the north. The chances about 30 to 40% once you get past this beautiful but windy weekend. Highs tomorrow into the 80s in Los Angeles. I mean, that is just ridiculous for January, and then Sunday even warmer, but the winds will be out there tomorrow morning. You're probably going to get woken up by some of these gusts tomorrow in the morning time. And then Monday, Tuesday look calmer, but hopefully we'll get some shower activity going here on Monday and Tuesday for just everybody in the Southern California area. Temperatures going to be cooling back down to average as well on Monday and Tuesday. But for the valleys, i.e. 70s, lower 80s of the weekend, and winds are around. And the beach, even you will see some gusts this weekend. 35 tomorrow, highs in the 70s, and then into the 60s for the work week. The mountains, watch out for some of those gusts up to 60, 65 miles an hour tomorrow. Windy through the tomorrow night, and then Sunday still windy. I won't even say breezy, 45 miles an hour for Sunday, calmer, and then some rain Monday and Tuesday, as well as in the high desert. Watch out for those winds, guys. It is going to be a strong wind, Santa Ana wind event for Saturday, but also very warm.
All right.
Results.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Rico.
Injuries have limited Kobe Bryant to just 41 games the past 2 seasons until his recent run of injuries. The least amount of games Kobe has played in a season, 58, and that was during the strike-shortened season of 2011. And by the way, Kobe's played in 220 playoff games, including 38 in the finals. But we might not see him on the floor again this season. Doctors confirmed today Kobe does indeed have a torn rotator cuff. Kobe thinks the injury occurred Wednesday night in New Orleans on a dunk. It's expected that Kobe will use the weekend to decide if he'll go under the knife. He has another doctor's appointment scheduled for Monday. Kobe tweeted out this today: "This is what happens when I pass too much. Hashtag shoulder shock. Thank you all for your thoughts and prayers." And then he gave a plug for his energy drink. Your daily Deflate Gate update. The NFL says they've conducted 40 interviews while investigating the scandal, and they've hired a company that specializes in sophisticated forensics. The investigation is being led by NFL Executive Vice President Jeff Pash and attorney Ted Wells. They previously conducted the league's probe into the Miami Dolphins bullying scandal. Former NFL diva Terrell Owens handing down some knowledge to some high school stars. T.O. along with Randy Moss are opposing coaches for the West Coast All-Star Game on Sunday. The game features some of the top high school senior prospects in the country in the final All-Star Game prior to National Signing Day.
It's really just giving back, the knowledge that I've gained throughout my career. And obviously these guys, these young men are definitely in a better position than I was growing up. They get an opportunity to really showcase their skills. We're just really here to shed some knowledge, give these kids, the basis of what they need to get to that next level.
The West Coast All-Star Game will be held at Warren High School in Downey on Sunday at 3 p.m.
Millions of viewers will be watching. It's the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl contest. Only 2 low-budget commercials created by competitors will air on Super Bowl Sunday, and only one will get the big prize. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has a sneak peek at the ads created by local finalists.
It's the big game. Touchdown! The fight for the title. Touchdown! A battle watched around the world. I can't know! Not the Super Bowl. It's the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl contest. 10 commercials pitching the spicy treat, featuring rocket-powered pigs and squealing fish, all desperate for your attention.
Can I have some Doritos?
And your votes, with a cool $1 million and more on the line.
I moved out here from a small town to make it big as a writer in Hollywood.
Travis Brown is one of 3 Southern California finalists in the Doritos competition. He's the man behind this Doritos ad, shot in a day and just for $350.
There's a Universal Dream job attached to the winner. Getting to work at Universal Pictures, that is my dream. That's always been my dream.
Cable TV director Scott Zabelski is hoping his middle seat ad will earn him a first-class ticket to Doritos fame.
So I do have it.
Your work potentially could be seen by over 100 million people. I'd love to direct commercials. I'd love to eventually direct movies. So this platform could really give me a chance to show that I can do that stuff.
And bartender David Horowitz sees his Dorito ad, titled The Lemonade Stand,
84 sold, 84 lemonade.
as a way to shake up his career.
I hope this honestly leads to just a career in filmmaking, and it's just unbelievable that my ad could actually air on the Super Bowl.
2 of the Doritos ads will air during the Super Bowl. The actual winner will be announced the next day. All of it determined by online voting, which means for the folks behind these ads, the next few days really are crunch time. In Santa Monica, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And more news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. We'll have more on our breaking news story. A 15-year-old student stabbed to death on a middle school campus. Tonight, the search for the killer, and we hear from parents and school officials. Plus, if you're having trouble finding a parking space in downtown Los Angeles or Hollywood, there's a new parking app designed to bring a valet to you. These stories and all the late breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Sled dogs are gearing up for a big marathon in Minnesota this weekend, and today the smaller counterparts got to show off. It was the annual mini sled dog race put on by a local radio station. The horn blew, the dog owners went bananas over their little pooches as they pulled their tiny sled.
Aw. Well, thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next on LA56.
Good night.